Hello crafty friends, my name's Alicia, but you can call me Crafty Owl. And in today's video, I'm going to be unboxing and creating 3 projects with my new xTool M1 desktop laser and blade cutter. I hope you'll stick around to see what I'm going to create. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope that by the end of this video, you'll be inspired to click on that subscribe button below and ring the bell for notifications. If you're already a subscriber and regular viewer, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here again. I know my channel is usually focused around paper and cardstock and card making, but over the past 18 months or so, I have been looking at various laser cutters. And when xTool reached out to me to see if I would like to try out their M1 machine, which is the world's first 2-in-1 laser engraver and vinyl cutter, I was like, yes, please. I had watched so many videos of other people using it and loving it that I knew it would make a great additional tool in my craft area. And I figured that if I, as a card maker, have been looking into a product like this, that maybe you have too. So I hope that you'll stick around and watch me unbox it and try it out with 3 fun personalized projects. This desktop machine cuts, scores, and etches on a variety of materials with the 10-watt laser, and it even has a blade housing for cutting stuff like cardstock, vinyl, fabric, and more. I was sent the xTool M1 10-watt Basic Edition, which is everything I need to get started with laser cutting, but they do have lots more accessories like a rotary attachment and risers so you can etch bottles and wine glasses and round ornaments. So I will have their site linked below so you can learn more about this machine as well as the accessories that you can add on. In my box, I got a welcome letter, a user manual, a small package of sample materials, and then everything that I need to get it vented out for safety and hooked up to my computer. And because this is also a blade cutter, I got 5 replacement blades and 2 cutting mats, 1 lightweight and 1 for fabric. Let me know in the comment section below if you know of anybody with a laser cutter or if you've been in the market for one yourself. Out of the box, this machine is almost ready to go. You do have to hook up the vent hose, which please make sure to read your safety manual and follow all of the instructions to keep yourself and your home safe. Honestly, putting the hose on was probably the hardest part of the setup. It was just a little bit of wiggling with that hose to get it on there correctly. My husband did help me get it hooked up to the outside, so once all that was in place, I hooked up the USB cable and the power cable, and we were ready to give this thing a go with our first project. When you get your xTool, you'll be able to download their free xTool Creative Space software, which not only has lots of great resources built in, but it does link off to a website where there are lots of free patterns for you to cut, etch, score, etc. It did take me a minute to figure out how to get it connected to the machine. I probably shouldn't have opened my software until it was connected by USB, but I did a couple refreshes, and you'll see on my screen now I can see the inside of my xTool. One of the great features about this is that camera on the inside to help you with placement. Now for the first project, I'm going to be etching and cutting plywood. Because of this, I had to put in those triangular prisms at the bottom of my machine. That just helps with airflow around the wood as it's cutting. For this first project, I am bringing in an image that I bought on Etsy, which if you like it, I will link it in the description box below. And I wanted to make an ornament. So I'm going to pull in that image, which look at that happy girl with all that mail that she's sending out. When you start on your project, you do need to let your software know what your machine is set up for. So over here on the right, I'm going to click off everything and choose laser flat because the wood is flat. And since it is on the triangular prisms, I need to let the machine know that. Then I choose the 3mm basswood, but I do go ahead and auto measure just because sometimes the measurement that is in the machine is different than what the wood actually is. Now once that's set up, because my image is a PNG file, my only options for it are to engrave. I did mention before, we're also going to be doing some cutting for this project, and I want to make it into kind of an ornament. So I insert a circle in the software and I set that to the size that I want it, which I think I chose 3 inches. Then I resize my PNG image a little bit to fit in there, and so I have a place to put the ribbon or the string through to hang it. I make another smaller circle, and like with Cricut and Silhouette software, you're able to do quick alignment, so I can align these all center together so everything is set up nicely. I have watched a lot of videos on YouTube using the M1, and I thought I was pretty good with the software, and for the next step I knew that I needed to frame my piece, and what that does is the machine does a little laser around the area that it's going to cut or etch, and then you can make sure that it's going to be in the correct place on your piece. Well, I kept hitting the framing button and I just kept getting errors, so I'm like, you know what, I won't frame it. I have this huge piece of wood, it's going to go where it's at. So I decided to go ahead and click the process button, and that's when the framing button came up again. So I pushed on that, and then over on the machine the light blinks on the front, so you push on that to let it know that you want to see the framing. So you'll see here it shows where it's going to cut, and that looked good. So now I cross my fingers and press the start button, which it still isn't going to start the machine because once again after you press it, you go to the machine and you press the button to get started. Now, I have seen others say where it gives you an estimated time on this screen, but I couldn't see it. So I am going to be timing this on my watch to get an idea of how long it takes. I'm going to let you see a little bit of the process. I did stand there the whole time. They say not to leave the machine alone while it's working, just in case something goes awry. So I watched it, and it's kind of like for me watching a dryer or a washer where you can see through the window. It was so fascinating seeing the image come to life on that piece of wood. While that's working on etching the image, I wanted to tell you about another resource on the xTool site, and that is this materials chart. You tell it which machine you're using and which type of material you're using, and it gives you a good idea of where to start with your power and your speed and so on. This is just so if you're not using an xTool product to etch or cut or score, you can get an idea of where to start. I will have this page linked below if you're interested in checking it out. Now the etching of my Happy Mail girl was all done, so the machine automatically started the laser cutting, which I don't think I told you before, but I did tell the software what I want etched and what I wanted cut. The full process for this took just a little under 15 minutes, and here's a look at the front, and I was in love. Now I did want to put my web address on the back, so I placed the ornament or the coaster back in the machine, but this time I put the etching side down. And because of that camera in there, I now know exactly where I need to place my text. The Creative Space software has a text tool, so I typed in my web address, and then I played around a little with the font sizing and the type of font. There are some great ones just built in, and I resized it and got it placed on the ornament or the coaster where I wanted it to be etched. Once the text was where I liked it, I processed it and did the framing and everything looked good, so I hit start and let this get to work etching. I didn't exactly time it, but I think this was around maybe 5 minutes. Once again, I stood right by it watching, and I do want to give you a heads up that if you would like this ornament for yourself, make sure to keep watching. For project number 2, I'm going to be laser engraving a stainless steel dog tag. So I took out those triangular prisms and set the tag inside my machine. I did realize that I need to have it underneath the laser light, so I adjusted it a little bit and then got that picture taken of the inside of my machine. Because I don't have a canine companion, I put out a call to my die cut and paper trimmer level members to have me tell them about their Poochie pals, and I'm going to draw one to engrave the name. And the lucky doggy is Cash. Congratulations! So I did ask if the dogs were male or female, just kind of get an idea of what kind of font to use, and I thought Cash sounded like a burly little guy, so I picked one of the fonts from the xTool creative space that was kind of big and bold, and I set it up on the dog tag. Now this is another great thing about the camera, I can adjust that and get it just right. Now I did zoom in so I could get some better placement, and once I had it in a good place, I then used the arrows to get it centered almost perfectly. Then I got it sent over to the machine and pressed start and watched as Cash's dog tag came to life. This did end up taking about 8 minutes total, and again, I'm just enthralled by watching this whole process. Since this was my first time engraving on metal, I wasn't sure if it was going to be super hot, so I opened the lid and I went away for about 5 minutes, and when I came back, look at what I have now. If you are Cash's owner, Melissa H., please reach out to me via email at the address at the bottom of the description box. I do want to make sure I have the correct winner to send this off to. For the third and final project in today's video, I'm going to show you the blade cutting feature of this machine. So I will be using the light tack mat that they sent me. It is sticky on both sides, so it will stay in place on the inside of the machine, and I'll be using the orange vinyl from the sampler pack. So I pull the release paper off the front, get my vinyl in place, and then I place it into my machine, making sure to press it down to that black metal tray. I don't yet have the blade installed, so I pulled out the metal housing, which is just magnetized in there, and I got one of the 5 blades they sent me into that. I did make sure to be super careful with this, and I actually did remove it right after, because one of the videos I found online, the person was cleaning the inside of the machine and actually cut their finger on that blade that was sticking out. So again, just be super careful with these. Once the mat was in place, I took a new picture with the machine, and then I pulled in the logo that I'll be cutting today. Now this is going to be for my husband. Although I'm not a fan of the color orange, his favorite Formula 1 driver has an orange logo. Let me know in that comment section below if you know who his favorite driver is. Now one thing that I did get tripped up on here is when I went to look at the materials, I couldn't find vinyl. Like, I did some searching, and then I realized it's because I still had it set to laser flat. When you do the vinyl cutting, you have to make sure you put it to blade cut, and then you'll have more options for the material that are more consistent with that. I got this processed and sent to the machine, and once I hit start, it went super quick. In fact, so quick, I'm going to let you watch it in real time. While that's cutting, I do want to say that I have a Silhouette or a Cricut, so this won't be my go-to for cutting vinyl, but what I can see this handy for me is if I have a little piece of vinyl and need to place something very specifically on that scrap. Because, you know, with my Silhouette, I can't take a picture of where my material is on the mat. That part is super helpful. It did cut it quickly and cleanly, so now I'm going to take it to my desktop so we can finish this piece up. To conserve the rest of the vinyl, I did just cut a rectangle around the logo I cut, and then I weeded it, which I have to say the vinyl weeded very easily, and then I brought in a clear acrylic ornament. Now one thing this machine can't do because of the type of laser is cut light and clear acrylic, but you can buy these shapes cheaply online, so I'm just using one I already had in my stash. I brought in my transfer tape and got my logo placed in the center, or as centered as possible, and then this was all done. I'll just add some ribbon or twine to it to hang on the Christmas tree later. I hope that you enjoyed getting to see me unbox and use my xTool M1 for the first time. I have to say, like, I was really excited to get this, and I was a little bit nervous too, but I had so much fun playing today, and I have about 5 to 10 more projects at least in mind. So if you did enjoy and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my dog tag does already have a home, so I hope Cash and Cash's owner like that, but I thought that I would give away the little wooden ornament slash coaster I made to one lucky subscriber. So if you would like to be entered to win this, please leave me a comment below with what was your favorite project from today and maybe what you'd like me to try next. Make sure if you do want to be entered to that giveaway to put the hashtag xToolM1 in your comment. You will have until midnight on November 30th, 2023 to leave that comment to enter, and then I will do the drawing the first week in December. You just need to be subscribed to my channel and at least 18 years old. Thanks again to xTool for sending me this fun new machine, and I'm looking forward to having you back here to view more of what I create with it. Until then, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all the way to the end of the video. I hope now you'll consider clicking on one of the videos or playlists I have linked above. And if you are interested in any of the products or tools I used in today's video, I do have some links in the description box below.